If you've got basic chords down and you're looking for the next steps, inversions are a really cool way both to sound unique on the guitar and understand music theory a little bit more. Now, you hear these all the time in something like The Wind Cries Mary, where you've got inversions down here, and then they change the inversions. Or Crazy Train, right? All different inversions. So what are these and how do we use them? Well, to understand inversions, we need to understand chords. Chords at the most basic level are any three or more unique notes, right? So if we've got a G chord, we're pulling 1, 3, and 5 out of that G scale to make our chord. Now, the chord shapes that we know are really just that. Shapes that make it easy to play those three notes. But once we know our open chords, it's important to understand that those shapes can be changed as we move up the neck. And the three notes that make up a chord can be put in any order and still be the same chord, which becomes really powerful. Let's use A as an example. In our A chord, we've got the notes A, E, A, C sharp, and E. If we move those three notes up the neck, so we've still got A, C sharp, and E, we've got the next version of our A chord. We can do it again by moving up even further to C sharp, E, and A. So all ways to play an A chord up the neck. We can do this on any set of strings and with any chord, even minor chords. Now, these are the slash chords that we keep seeing. If we see something like C over E, this is actually an inversion, right? It's not a C chord over the root, it's a C chord over the E note, which is the third. So we're putting the 3 underneath and playing 3, 5, and 1. So anytime we see these slash chords, we can play some of them down here as open chords, but we can also play these inversion shapes. So I see A over E, and I go, well, okay, that's specifically this shape right here, my A chord, but I've got an E as my root. All that to say that inversions are just the three notes of any chord flipped around, leapfrogging each other up the neck. So we can play chords anywhere. And we don't just need to think about them vertically, but we can also think about them horizontally by combining sets of strings so that we can play the same chord 4 different ways in the same place, kind of vertically thinking, right? Just in this middle section. That's going to help us move, from low chords to maybe high solos in a really natural way. Now, we're not going to go into detail of every single major minor shape on every set of strings. There is a course down in the description if you're interested in looking at all those different things and really mastering these. But we do want to talk about the use of them once we know them. What's helpful about these inversions? Well, the first most helpful thing here is that we can play different chords now really close to one another. This is going to help us not need to move our hand so much around the neck, which helps us be able to play longer and be able to play some really unique shapes or some really basic chord progressions in a really unique way, kind of develop our own sound. The other cool thing we can do with it is change how we voice lead, right? The first A chord down here has a different high note than this one or than this one. Every time we're flipping the shape, we're also flipping the order of the chords. So that in this one, the 5 is on top. In this one here, the 1 is on top. Or down here, the 3 is on top. That helps us to build better chord progressions that fit with the melody. This is diving us into the world of voice leading, setting melodies or making chords and melodies fit together by changing what note is on top of our chord progressions. This helps our songs to sound a little bit more professional.